So what would your definition of love be?
Everyone has a different definition of love.
That you gave them everything you had with an open heart.
I just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Saying my bad.
Don't make me lose this.
Everyone is so quick to make first judgment calls on people and just cut people off.
Strong correlation between self-esteem and self-compassion, which makes sense. I mean, they're one and the same. And you can't have one without the other. Self-esteem tends to arise from like adolescence to adulthood as you learn more, as you get more experience, as you understand the world better. And you also like expand your social group, you expand your knowledge base, and you become more skillful in like all the different things you love to do. There's a stronger sense of self-worth and accomplishment, which begs the question, what is self-worth? To define self-worth. Self-worth is another term for self-esteem. Okay, all right. What's self-esteem? Self-esteem is confidence in one's own worth or abilities, self-respect. Okay, so what is self-respect? Define. Self-respect, pride and confidence in oneself, a feeling that one is behaving with honor and dignity. You give love to everyone else, not because you're expecting to reciprocate, get that back, but rather you're just doing it because you respect who you are.
I'm going to give it anyway. I try not to expect. Expectations are horrible. I don't expect anything from anybody.
But you do expect yourself to hold yourself to those higher standards that you keep yourself to.
Because that's the only thing I have control over is myself.
Yeah, so your judgment, your expectations are only on yourself, but not on anyone else.
The only thing that I really ask from others is respect.
How would you define respect?
Being polite. Being true, being honest as best one can. The golden rule, do unto others as you do unto oneself. Being kind, being gentle. Respect, you know. Let's not be rude. Let's not be mean. Let's not be, because if you are, then I have an issue giving respect.
In order to respect someone, you have to have low expectations, high standards. You hold yourself to a high standard, but you also don't expect someone else to be at the same standard that you hold yourself, because your perception of your standard, based on your experiences, based on your experiences, your beliefs, your values. In order to give respect to someone, you also have to be honest about who you are, which goes to
being honest with yourself up front, and then being honest with the person that you're with and saying, hey, I like my little army men figures. Don't make me lose this. This is a part of who I am when you met me, and you like me for me. You might not like that part of me, but it's part of me. Don't make me lose that just because you don't like it. Instead, you need to separate your paper clips a little bit so I've got some space so that I can go through and do that thing every once in a while. And having that ability to say, I give to you in the hopes that you give to me. And we have this reciprocity across all levels of it, from the communication to the romantic side of things, every area of it. As long as that reciprocity is there and no one feels like they're being taken advantage of, trust gets built better that way, just because we're open with our communication and our fears and our everything else, and we're being completely vulnerable. And we say, I'm showing you this as a token of trust. Don't abuse it.
Of course, Dave is talking more on the relationship side between two people, but putting that on to the internal side, if you have the self-respect, the self-worth, the honesty with yourself, then you can build trust in your ability to get things done. So how do you trust? How do you build that trust? Now, I think a lot of the conversations I've had with people, a lot of the podcasts have been more of between two people, between other people. And so I'm going to see if I can make this relate to internally. Because if you understand how you can communicate with others, you can also, it'll lead to a better understanding on how you communicate with yourself.
Everybody don't want what you want. Everybody don't want the finer things. Everybody don't want the clear mentality, right? So you got to let people be who they are.
You can be who you are, and you can be honest with yourself. What's the quote from Jordan Peterson? If you get what you want by telling a lie, then you're not smart enough to get it by telling the truth. So to not only have healthy relationships with other people by being honest, you also don't have to remember all the times that you had to lie about who you weren't. So it has to do So everything kind of ties around to like security. How secure are you with who you are? Are you honest with yourself? Are you truthful with yourself? Do you tell the truth? And that might have to do with a lot of people put a mask onto their face, put a mask on to hide their inner values to conform with the societal view of who you should be.
The more that somebody allows me to be myself and enjoys it, and vice versa.
Okay, so someone who accepts you for who you are.
Right. And accepts me for the things that I don't even know that I am yet. But I think if somebody sees you and your core beliefs and like how goofy you can be, and you know what I mean? And like allows your inner child to flourish and heal and come out to play. And play is very important. And I think that people they're like, oh my God, you're so mature. You know, why aren't you grown or what? I don't even know. I think play is like the most important thing, because who knows how often we didn't get to play as kids, and we have our entire lives. Like if I'm home, I'm going to wear whatever I want, whatever's comfortable. Like you don't have to make a comment on it. And I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And if you want to be involved, great. And if you want to involve me in what you want to do, great. I'm down for it. Let's go. But I don't need to sit there and be ridiculed in my own home.
Yeah. What about the line between someone not being ridiculed and then someone who wants to help you improve?
I think partnership is all about improvement.
And then like also the openness of improvement.
Right. To be seen is to be loved. And I think that there are definitely times and places where you can be like, hey, I noticed this today. This is something that maybe, you know, we can work on, and if it's always like we can work on it, I'll help you out. Like we've got this together thing, instead of, you know, you were really annoying at the bar tonight. It's like, oh, okay. Thank you. I'll be sure to be more annoying next time.
Yeah. So being yourself, which goes into what another thing Emily's mentioned, which is feelings. People are by nature emotional creatures. Quote from Maya Angelou: I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
I had a really hard time being honest
With yourself?
with people because I just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And I don't want to hurt anybody. And I would like get in these traps of just being stuck in the situation, and just like, how do you best get out of it? And the best way to get out of it is just to be honest.
So then it comes to the question, if you have to be honest in order to have self-worth, but also self-respect, what is honesty? What would you define honesty as?
Well, I mean, speaking the truth would certainly be the easiest way.
Like the deeper meaning of honesty.
Knowing that you gave everybody, knowing that you gave whoever's on the other end, right? Your client, your referral partner, your business associate, your significant other, your children, rest of your family, everything that you have to give them, whether that message is good news or bad news or indifferent news, that you gave them everything you had with an open heart and open mind, and knowing that I could look up spiritually and know I did the right thing.
So it just comes up to another question, which is, what is the difference between right and wrong? Well, just a general idea: right actions align with ethical principles promoting well-being and happiness, while wrong actions violate those principles, causing harm or suffering. In essence, right actions are those that are morally sound and just, while wrong actions are those that are morally unacceptable. Okay. There's that one quote, which is, it's not about knowing what is right. It's not about doing the right thing, but knowing what is right. So kind of tying off from that, it's not about knowing that you need to love, or not knowing, it's knowing that you should love, but how would you define love? How would you define that positivity?
I think I started to understand more as I've gotten older about what it takes to be successful in any relationship, which is really just patience, kindness, leading with empathy and understanding. And I think that's where the maternal instinct comes in about like being loving, right, as a woman. And those qualities are what is considered loving, right? And then everyone has a different definition of love. So it's like every single person's definition of love and respect is different. So how do you organically figure that out? Like you have to just be really inquisitive of each person and say like, what what gets you going, what makes you feel like a big man, right? And like, or what makes you feel super loved as a woman.
Purpose. What gives you purpose in life? Like what gets you going? And that I can switch to another thing.
It has to be bigger than oneself. And what can we give to someone or something else? And that's where, safety is. Because if you're giving, then even if you miss the mark, you're okay.
From the perspective of I'm going to consider you a very successful man. Is that what? Okay. I'm going to say it.
There's levels to it.
I'm going to say, compared to me, you're a very successful man.
I also got you by 40 years? I mean,
That's not relevant. You're very.
All right.
What are your thoughts on the purpose of a man is to provide value? If you can provide value to other people, then you've created a purpose for you to live another day.
100%, which is kind of unfair in a way, but
unfair to,
because, you said a man. So there's only two sexes. There's a man and a female.
I can't speak on the feminine side.
Well, you can. I mean, you can look at.
I don't know that many women. I'm sorry.
So here's society has already determined it. Is you as born a man, in order to bring value as a man, you got to be able to create something. You have to be able to support something or someone. You have to be able to take care of oneself primarily.
To take care of yourself by giving, you get, which is Dave's thing. Where's Dave? Come here, Dave.
By giving, you get. By giving me trust, you get my trust, because I'm going to give you the best I have. After that, we're not playing games, right? You're not playing games. You're not giving me the over and over and over again, right? Once you stop mincing your words and you get to the point and you tell me what it is, we can move, we can go, we can act on it. What I don't do well is deal in hypotheticals. We could spin our wheels on all the what ifs. Show me the what is. What is matters. What if, whatever.
And that's kind of out of context because that also includes, no, that's not it. That also includes Dave's earlier thing, which he talked about, which is the difference between implicit and explicit communication.
We first have to talk about implicit versus explicit communication. So, implicit communication.
Yeah, body language, tone of voice.
When are you going to look that way? Okay, so how come my implicit communication didn't work?
Because I know what you're trying to get to.
Okay, good. Look to your right. Okay, good. Explicit communication. It's very direct, right? Very direct.
Yeah.
What if I told you that most of the time we misread signals because we don't interpret the implicit communication that others give us all the time? Sometimes the word quality isn't what we should be listening to. It's usually the mannerisms of the person saying the thing that we should really be focusing on.
Mannerisms, implicit communication, trust, self-worth, self-respect. So just self-awareness. Like, are you self-aware of you, your emotional state, your psychological state, or emotional state, and psychological, I mean, like, psychological, like, there's the emotional state, and then there's the psychological state, which is like the psychological state of, like, did you eat? Does your body and your mind sync up properly? Like, did you eat 20 pounds of McDonald's? Like, probably gonna have a much worse off psychological state. Now, that's not like a definition or anything. I'm just rambling on here. So self-awareness. How would you define self-awareness?
Being able to instantaneously see oneself in the mirror.
Can you expand on that?
You can't hide from the person that you look in the mirror. That's you, and we all have our own individual reflection, and we have to love it, or we can hate it. We can hold it accountable. We can encourage it. We can chastise it.
Just depends on what part you decide to water.
And where are you that day in the moment? And who knows how many times well, one that is self-aware that there is an issue. So here you go. If someone has too much pride, then they don't look at themselves in the mirror, because for them, they're perfect. I have no issues. What do I need to look in the mirror for? I'm good. What do I need to self-reflect on? That's what self-reflection is, looking in the mirror. Why do I need to do that?
The first step to solving a problem is recognizing that there is a problem. So it just comes, that's humility. Humility, understanding that there is no, not understanding, but being aware of imperfections, but also improvement, and not having too much pride, not having too much ego, not letting that dictate the, because there's the logical side and the emotional side. Your logical, like the thing that should be done and the thing that you want to be done. So the needs and the wants, which kind of goes to like storytelling and like character development. Every character has a desire. They have their needs and they have their wants. What do they need to improve themselves, to become, like for dynamic characters within a story? A character that improves is, a dynamic character is basically someone who is a character that improves over time. So there's what they need to improve and then what they want. And what they want doesn't necessarily have to do with their needs. And that's a whole nother topic, and there's a lot of great videos on YouTube about it. But to simplify it, what you need and what you want can be two different things. And a lot of the times the things that you want is not necessarily the things that will help you grow. Not you, sorry, not you specifically, just me. This is more just me talking to myself. And knowing what you want and knowing what you need is also knowing when to let go. Because a lot of the times you hold on, and I think there's a quote on this, but I'm going to go to a different clip. If you hold on to things and refuse to let go, then that recurring memory is always going to be there. So it's just that willingness to let go.
It doesn't even have to be for either of us. It just isn't working for me. And I don't think ill of, and you didn't do anything wrong, but like for me, this isn't how I want to go about anything.
So it's both you have the commitment on the things that you want to commit to, but you also have the ability to let go of the things that you don't want anymore. Right. Because what was good isn't good anymore. But also going back to the other thing I was talking about, commitment. There are two creatures of value on the face of the earth, those with the commitment and those who require the commitment of others.
And that is about loving yourself.
Is there a problem with people who use loving themselves as an excuse to avoid the responsibilities that they have?
For sure. There is narcissism. And I think that narcissism is falsely idolizing yourself, right? I don't think they actually love. The reason that they are the way they are is because they don't have love for themselves.
Well, one way of looking at it is that you either win or you lose. And the more times you lose, the more times you feel like a failure. Or not you feel like a failure. I'll say this in the third person. The more losing, the more of a failure it seems to be. Because one after another, once you build a consistency, that's the thing, consistency is one of the most powerful things in the world, but also one of the most dangerous, because if you're consistently failing, I just said if there's a consistency in failure, then it seems like there's always going to be that every single time. That's the future. That's the consistency. And then of course, there's the other ways, like if there's a consistency in winning, the future is going to be good. And that's one that has to do with mindset, but more importantly, there's lessons and there's opportunities, which is also kind of winning and losing. If a lesson is losing, then you're not losing, you're winning. Because a failure is just that, it's a failure. Now, there's a clip from Dave about failure, about losing multiple times. But I'm going to start with this one because regardless of whether or not you fail, you win, it's a lesson or an opportunity. You should be proud of yourself despite your setbacks.
Fair weather friends are my least favorite people in the world. You want to be by me when times are great, be by me when I'm at my worst, right? Be proud of yourself despite your setbacks. Be proud of yourself, especially when you lose. Having that ability to say to yourself, you are good enough, you did well enough. And having that acceptance will lead you to making more bad choices later, which leads to better character development. Fail, fail again, fail better, right? One of my favorite quotes, fail, fail again, fail better. Ever tried, never failed.
So the next clip is a little longer of a clip. Let's see. It's about 4 minutes. It's a little longer clip, but the essence makes more sense. Puts everything more into context.
Or do you want to be that person that had a healthy lifestyle, might have lost a little bit more, didn't really compete at the highest physical level you were capable of at the time, but you learned the skills. And now you have a desire that wasn't corrupted. You didn't take any shortcuts. You have a mental toughness you built up, and you did it the long way, and you accumulated skills. You now have something in your back pocket that you can do for the rest of your life at least the hobby level, and have fun with it and not feel like you're just getting smashed every time a new 20-year-old walks in. And you come away from it knowing you have that fulfillment because you did it the right way. It's kind of hard to be proud of something that you know you got the shortcut on. Are there people that do it? Yeah. I don't lose sleep over fake people.
At that point, you don't need to judge them. There's no point in judging. It's just a waste of your time.
Yeah. I'd rather most of my students have what I call the rattlesnake effect. I'd rather you never have to use your jiu-jitsu, never have to use your Muay Thai, never have to use your Kali. If you can just have a good enough posture and let people know you mean business, maybe they don't want any of that business. Because the last I checked, it is not the Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake, aka the largest venomous land snake in North America, that has the most human kills. It isn't. It's funny how the copperhead and the cottonmouth, between the two of them, they are way more likely to give you the business than an Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake. And the reason being, one of those things will warn you ahead of time and the other won't. And so we think we need to conceal carry our jiu-jitsu, and it's actually better to open carry it, because in the grand scheme of things, the average person who would do a violent crime is looking to do it against a soft target. They don't want to pick a hard target, because predators by their nature prey on the weak. A wolf could take out any sheep it wants. Why is it going to go for the weak one? Because it's the easier prey. Because at our core, human beings are also two things: creatures of habit and lazy by nature. Just going back to what we said before about that default. So finding a way to get out of your comfort zone and going into a thing that is notoriously rigorous and hard, kudos to that person already. You don't need to compete. You stepping through those doors is already a huge win. We talk about the biggest advancement you can make in terms of rank is putting on the white belt. Putting on the white belt is your biggest promotion in jiu-jitsu. You stopped eating potato chips on the couch, you got up, and you went and got your butt kicked. That is the biggest promotion you'll get. Now, along the way, those other things are going to feel really good, but it all started with, did you start and put on the initial effort to go in, right? Now, being in that rattlesnake, you say to yourself, hey, I had this capability, leave me alone. And most of the time they will. So if anybody's listening and you're thinking, hey, you're a guy speaking from the perspective of a guy a lot, I am a woman, I have different fears, I have different things. Let me say this. The same things are true and they still apply. If you are distracted going through a parking lot and you are looking through a bag, a purse, your coat for your keys, and your head isn't up and your eyes aren't on a swivel looking around, your likelihood of getting attacked are high. Just because you are distracted, you are weak positionally. I don't care if you can do like a 48-inch box jump and you're a CrossFit phenom and you can do like the Murph in like 40 minutes. You can be all those things and still be a victim because in the circumstance, you were unaware, unprepared.
That specific segment was more self-defense oriented, but taking that as like an internal mindset, but also like converting that from like external self-defense to internal self-defense. If you're unprepared for things, if you're unprepared for like one of the things that I did on Dave's podcast, which is it's about prepared coincidences. I don't believe in luck. I believe in preparation.
And the funnier thing is, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
And at that point, it's not even luck. It's just like
The preparation.
it's just prepared coincidences.
Yeah. No, I definitely believe in that. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of training harder than the thing you're going to do, so that when it's time to do the thing, that's easy.
What do you think about people who don't want to prepare, who don't want to push themselves? Is it just an idle mind as a devil's workshop?
It's not even that. It's just the fact that if people don't want to do work to get successful, and they're content to do the bare minimum, they shouldn't ask for any kind of respect. Like, I can't respect that. Yeah. Like, why am I going to give any kind of kudos to someone who's doing the bare minimum?
Bare minimum would be like, because then there's like unreasonable standards. If you hold yourself to an unreasonable standard, it's like, or unrealistic standard, or like, hey, I'm trying to do everything the way I can with what I've got, but I also have to be the best. How do you keep that awareness and self-respect? I don't know. I guess do things that you respect. Be around people that you respect. Do things that you find respectful. There's someone I know who said this. If you want self-esteem, you have to do esteemable things. I think that was on the podcast, on one of the podcast episodes, but I'm not sure. If you want respect, do respectable things. If you want, like I go for walks all the time. Go outside, try to be in nature as much as I can. Be with people who make me feel better about myself, but not just unreasonably better, but try to push me further than I think I can push myself. So I think, just so this video doesn't go for an hour of just me going one to another, to another, to another, I guess in the end, it's just a matter of what you're exposed to. Exposure, like, or I'll do this in my perspective, am I exposed to positive things? Am I exposed to positive people, to people who are loving, who are caring, who are successful in whatever they're doing? What do I expose myself to? And how much of that do I internalize and accept and believe that it's that to be true, that you can love someone unconditionally, that you can be around good people? I guess I'll just leave one conclusion, which is you are what you expose to. Life is what you make of it. You are what you expose yourself to. It's not a satisfactory ending, but it's enough for now. It's good enough. So.